I'm ondrashsabo, an independent researcher of prehistoric culture. Some years ago, I've decided to move to Egypt. I've been motivated by only one question: who was the mysterious ancient civilization who built the pyramids and the temples on this sacred land? Subscribe to my channel to visit a lot of unique places and to get advice how to have your own great adventure in Egypt. Let's search for the answers together.
Today, I would like to show you the unique footage that you have never seen before. I'm talking about a group of shafts located at Saqqara in Egypt. You might know them as the tombs from the Saite period or the late period of ancient Egypt. Hello everybody, I'm ondrashsabo. During the last few years, the country's tourism-related policy in Egypt has dramatically changed. Now we can visit some special places, though the access to them has been severely restricted in the past.
Over the past few years, the research team of the Laboratory of Alternative History has managed to get to the most extraordinary places on the territory of Egypt. We have been among the first tourists to go down to the Osiris shaft or to explore some restricted areas inside the Great Pyramid. We have visited Abu Rawash with its lost pyramid, as well as we have traveled to Abu Sir, to Abydos, where we have seen the Osirion, inside the Pyramid of Djoser, and we have been the first visitors to enter the gigantic tomb of Pharaoh Senusert III.
You can find the links to the special video footages in the description below. A few people from our team have managed to get to the Saite period tombs, and you will see now the unique video footages that have been recorded there. Let's begin our journey to Saqqara.
We are heading south of Cairo to Saqqara, home of the ancient step pyramid. The places we are going to see now are so-called tombs from the Saite period. These tombs are located exactly next to the pyramid of Pharaoh Unas, on the south side. This image shows well how do they line up. Three gigantic shafts dug 25, 27 to 30 meters down with the chambers on the bottom. The length and the width of the shafts is about 7-8 meters. I would like to show you an example of the same shaft, but cleared away from the sand and rubble. So now, on the bottom of the shaft you can see the roof of the chamber. There are about 1,700 cubic meter of the rock that has to be removed, or 2,900 tons of limestone. And all the volume of rock is just from the one shaft. Since 2016, this is an important archaeological site, and judging from the found artifacts, in ancient times it is thought to be a mummification ritual in one of the discovered shafts. This 3D image of the excavation area was produced and published by the University of Tübingen. You can clearly see the location of the Saite period tombs. We are going down using the supporting shaft to get to the underground chamber. The depth of this shaft is about 25 meters. However, it is very narrow, approximately 1.4 by 1.3 meters. So it is quite easy now to reach the 25 meters depth using this winding staircase. However, many centuries ago it was not that easy. In fact, every great shaft has the same long and narrow supporting shaft, which has been used for bringing down the mummies. Nowadays, you can reach the chambers on the bottom of all three shafts only by using this supporting shaft. The Saite period tombs were discovered by the Italian Egyptologist Alessandro Barsanti, and his archaeological report about the discovery was published in 1900. Unfortunately, Barsanti's methods of archaeological exploration were far from ideal. According to his reports, the excavation was carried out roughly, and the goal was more likely to find some treasures and jewelry. That is why we got very few details in the description of the opening of the tombs. The first time Barsanti went down to the chamber, he used a supporting shaft as well. On the bottom of the shaft was found a wooden sarcophagus with the poorly preserved mummy of the woman inside. It fell apart in the hands. However, it was possible to find out her name. Her name was Setariban. A small passage leads to the north from the shaft, which enters a room with a semicircular arch vaulting. The chamber is large. The length of the chamber is almost 5 meters, the width is almost 3 meters, and the height is almost 3.5 meters. Hieroglyphs were carved on the walls, and at some spots they were not completed. It seems the covering of the sarcophagus, which has the same length and width as the chamber, interfered with the carvers. Barsanti found the lid of the sarcophagus raised this way. It was supported from below. The weight of the lid was about 20 tons and it was made of limestone. An anthropomorphic depression was visible on the floor. Here Barsanti also discovered the lid of an anthropomorphic sarcophagus made of basalt. The weight of the covering was about 3.5 tons. According to the inscription, Gaston Maspero and Barsanti concluded that the sarcophagus was meant for Psammetic, a physicist and a doctor who was living during the time of 26th and 27th dynasty. However, it never happened, so the tomb was left empty. To the east of the tomb of Psammetic there is another chamber. The entrance to that chamber was completely sealed away. When Barsanti took out one stone, the sun started to come out from the chamber. They worked on it for 3 days, but the sun did not stop to flow. It entered the chamber through a hole on the roof, so they decided to clean the main shaft above the chamber. Finally, the hole on the chamber's roof was closed and they managed to get into the room. There were hieroglyphic inscriptions almost everywhere inside the chamber. The walls were painted blue and white. The chamber was practically the same as that of Psammetic, only the lid of the sarcophagus was closed. It took 8 days for the workers to lift up the sarcophagus lid, which weighed about 20 tons. And under the covering they found one more anthropomorphic basalt lid. They lifted it up and discovered the decayed remains of a mummy. Today, nothing left from the large lid, and the inner sarcophagus was taken away. According to the inscriptions, it was concluded that the tomb belonged to Pedenis, a priest, possibly the son of Psammetic. The third tomb is located to the west from the tomb of Psammetic, and it was also sealed at the time of discovery. Because the chamber was choked with sand, it was the same hard for Barsanti to get into this tomb as into the previous one. Close to the entrance, a wooden box with alabaster vessels was discovered, and numerous statues and gilded items were found inside the chamber. The sarcophagus lid was also closed here, and it took about 5 days to lift it up. According to Barsanti, under the huge lid they found the most beautiful anthropomorphic lid of all. It had a greenish color and was carefully worked. Unfortunately, I could not find any photographs of these sarcophagi other than Psammetic sarcophagus. While lifting the basalt lid, the workers were not careful, and in the hope to find some treasures as quick as possible, they damaged the nose and the jaw on the face of the mummy. It was the mummy of Zanebu, the commander of the fleet. He wore a gold mask and various gold jewelry. The mummy was probably in a very poorly preserved condition, as it was found covered with a 25 cm layer of dried bitumen. Also, I would like to mention that the inscriptions on the walls of these tombs are in fact the pyramid text, and it has been proved that they are the copies of the text from the Pyramid of Unas, with some changes. It is an interesting fact that some report says about the ancient workers who have been doing the inscriptions on the walls without understanding the meaning, as the texts have already been ancient at that time. Probably they just have been trying to copy ancient knowledge. I would like to say a few more words and visualize the possible stages of the construction of the tombs. Of course, this does not explain how the ancient workers cut down the rock, planned construction, and moved the large blocks. the first stage, the builders cut down a large and supporting shaft into the rock. The construction materials were carried down by using the large shaft, and workers were going down by the supporting shaft. After that, the bottom part of the huge limestone sarcophagus was carried down. Then they placed the bottom part of the basalt anthropomorphic sarcophagus inside the large sarcophagus and put the lid next to it. After that, a large 20-ton limestone covering was brought down and supported by blocks from below. As the next step, they built walls and a semicircular roof over the sarcophagus. The holes inside the roof were sealed with clay plugs. After that, the entire great shaft was covered with clean sand without rubble. When the owner of the tomb died, his body after the embalming was moved down by using the supporting shaft and placed inside the basalt inner sarcophagus. The large lid was closed and the clay plugs were broken. The sun started to get into the chamber. The entrance from the side of the supporting shaft was sealed and covered with sand. So if the tomb raiders managed to clean up and go down to the supporting shaft, they could not get into the tomb, since the sun from above entered the chamber and came from the large shaft as it was cleared.
And in fact, there are a lot of similar shafts in Saqqara and in necropolis of Memphis. For example, the shaft of Amenhotep or the well-known step pyramid that was built over the same huge shaft. I believe studying these shafts could bring us closer to the comprehension of that ancient, highly developed civilization. My friends, that is it for today. I hope you have learned something new and interesting. See you on my next video. Bye!
I hope you enjoyed this video and learned something new and interesting. Please subscribe to my channel, like this video and leave your comments below.